Welcome back to Briggs on Books, our international talk show where we talk to authors from all over the world about their books. And not just authors, but people who help authors get across the finish line. A lot of people finish writing their book and say, what do we do now? There's help for you out there. So we're going to talk to all kinds of people who service authors, help authors get there. And also, one of my favorite things about this show is we talk to people who actually got it done, got their book written, they finished writing it, and now it's published. Our next guest did just that. Welcome, Mark McClain. Mark K McClain, you're an author, you're an editor. Where are you right now, Mark?
Say that one more time. Mike get cut out on me.
Where are you right now?
Oh, right now I am in. Matter of fact, you'll have to excuse the mess around me. I'm in Idaho, and we're getting ready to move. We're literally moving to Washington State.
I see. Now, is there snow there now, Idaho?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have an unusual storm, actually. It dumped about, within the last 3 or 4 days, I think it's dumped about 8 to 9 inches on us, which is unusual for us.
Yeah, that's a lot of snow. And you're just moving just across the border to Washington?
We are.
Yeah, that's nice. Now, I have some of your book covers here, by the way. I don't know which order we should go in, but the first one I have is Passages of Peculiarity.
Peculiarity?
Or would you?
That is my individual. That is a collection of short horror stories.
Short horror stories.
It's actually, I dabbled in. This is the first time that I've ever dabbled in horror. So this collection's kind of special to me. It took me a little bit to put together, and it turned out really well. Yeah. And I love the cover.
Yeah, I do too. I read novel after novel and book after book, and when I get a book of short stories, it's just a relief. You know, it's kind of a break from the novel reading. You could read a short story a day or whatever, and that's a lot of fun. Also, we have The Hunt. I'm struggling to see. I'm struggling to see the screen here, Mark. I'm that age. The Ruinous Curse. The Hunt.
I can't see it on my end, but if it's the one with the young man holding the sword, that is book one. That is The Ruinous Curse, The Hunt for Alesta. That one has been out for about a year to year and a half. The second one, which you'll get to in a little bit, is Apodora Rising, which is the second book, which came out about 6 months ago, and I'm halfway through writing the third and final installment now.
Yeah, we have Apodora Rising on the screen now, and I got to tell you, the covers of your books just really pull you in. They're really fascinating and fantastic. So, as a person who reads a lot, it helps. I mean, you got to pick your book somehow, and the covers pop out like that, and you say, "I'm gonna look at that one." Now, what are the last two we just talked about? What's the genre?
Those are both young adult YA. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. YA fantasy.
YA fantasy, yes. People think they laugh at me sometimes, but I love young adult books. They're just a lot of fun and very creative. And I started my young adult book reading when my kids wouldn't read any of the books they were assigned in school, so I started reading them myself. Right. So they're set. Where are they set? They have their own universe?
They are. It's in a place called Westmore. And Westmore is its own kingdom. And it's the young man that's the main character of the story. The protagonist is basically Prince in the beginning. And it just progresses. You know how kids are. They don't do what they're supposed to do most of the time. So he doesn't listen to his father. So when war is coming, him and his group of friends decide that they are going to set out to stop the incoming war. And that's what the whole entire journey over all three books entails, is him going from basically one situation to another, because obviously their thinking isn't as clear as it should be.
Right.
So they kind of get into one mess and then have to get themselves out of it. And then it's like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's a young adult book. and the protagonist is a young adult acting as young adults do. So
Yes.
that's very good. I like that a lot. Now, before we go too far, you, besides being an author yourself, and congratulations, by the way, because I always say anybody can write a book, but few people can finish writing a book, put the pencil down and take it to the next step, and you've done it multiple times. But you help people get that done?
I do. I have an editing service. I'm not sure if it's up on the screen, but it's
Yes.
basically nextjourneybooks.com. And I love anything to do with the written word.
Mm-hmm.
I love editing. I love whether it's proofreading, line editing, doesn't matter to me. I particularly focus on, I will do any genre, really, but I particularly focus on sci-fi, fantasy, and horror.
Right.
Those are my favorites because those obviously are the ones I have the most experience in.
I would imagine it goes beyond catching mistakes. You also catch continuity errors?
I will take an author from just from their beginning idea to publication, if that's what they desire. Or if they get stuck, they can come to me for help. They can, there's many services that I provide.
Yeah. I think a lot of authors, I can't tell you how many authors I talk to who just can't get to the end, can't move along, or they are stuck. And I don't mean a few hundred, I mean thousands and thousands of authors are just stuck. And it's good to hear that there's a service out there that can take you anywhere from the beginning, from the middle, or getting across the finish line. I
love working with writers.
Yeah.
I really do. And I'm not saying that to try to pump my business up. It's just a fact, and it's been like that for years. I've always, even before I started my own business, somebody would come to me and need a little help, and the next thing I know, I'm doing it, for free. And then I said, I should just do this for a business.
Yeah. What a fun business! It takes a lot of hours to do what you do. I know that.
It does.
Now I have, I read books by mainline publishers Simon and Schuster, and I find mistakes in those. Even those, how important is it to get somebody to read your book and edit it and advise you on it?
It's essential. Even I have my own coach and editor that I run all my work through. So, and just to be clear, to go back to what you said, that's a very good point, because there's not a book published that does not have an error in it. There's not a single book in history published that is error-free.
Right.
But your goal, obviously, is to get it to the point where it's like, oh, somebody missed a quotation mark here, or something very simple like that. Not to the point where the reader says, I have no idea what's happening in this book.
Yeah. Well, I call it, they can't see the forest for the trees. You could read through your own book 1,000 times and not notice a little mistake that would be obvious to anyone else. So, yeah, I like the idea of proofreaders. Where would somebody start if they wanted some help? Should they start at the website we have on the screen?
They can. That would be a very good place to start. My email's there. Everything that you need to reach me is there. And as a matter of fact, my email is exactly what it is, instead of just it is nextjourneybooks@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's easy enough to remember. Now, let's go back to your books now. Where can people find these?
Nearly anywhere. They are on Amazon, but they're also in Barnes and Noble. Nearly any major retailer should have them, but you can always rely on Barnes and Noble and Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. And I don't have a favorite. For me, Amazon, you go and you click a button and it just shows up, no shipping charge or shipping problem. I like that a lot.
Right.
So, now, can they order the books from your website?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is that better? Yeah. I always mean to ask authors that.
It actually, I have links on my website, and literally it takes them to Amazon anyway.
Mm-hmm. You end up at Amazon anyway, yeah. So, let me ask you this: what should an author? When should they call you? At what point do they need to wait till they give up? I can't go any further. Should they contact you as they're starting their journey? What's the best time to contact you?
I like I said, I will jump in nearly anywhere. I will start at the very beginning. I will start in the middle if they have gotten to, say, chapter 10 and they just are blocked. They're out of ideas. They're not sure which way to go. Or if they're at the end and they want me to take a look at the entire manuscript for what we call a developmental edit. It really doesn't matter which stage. I'll take any of it because I love it.
Yeah. Should they mind? I mean, should they worry about if it's a mess? I don't want to give it to them. It's just such a mess right now. You could help them straighten that out, I would imagine.
You should see my first draft.
Yeah.
It's every first draft, and that's exactly why it's called a first draft. It is not. There is no first draft that is going to be completed, ready to publish. In fact, the first book that you have, the one, The Hunt for Alesta, I probably went through that book about a dozen times, I think, before it actually was published. 12 different drafts.
12 different drafts.
And it just keeps building.
Yeah.
It builds. And then as you build, you think, well, I don't need this part anymore because I did this during the draft. So you take that out, and then you just keep building on it. And it's funny because every author, even Stephen King has said it before, that it's very hard to you have to get to a point where you just say, it's time to let go of it.
Time to let go, yeah.
Because you could keep revising it for years.
Yeah. When to put that pencil down, that's a big question. And the point I was trying to get to with these questions is an author need not be hesitant or embarrassed or ashamed. Just get some help. Let's get these books written.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's such a plethora of information out there now, and some of them get lost in it. They get confused because you have a handful over here telling them to do one thing, another handful telling them to do something else. And by the time they take all that advice in, they either quit because they're overwhelmed, or they quit because they just have no idea which way to go anymore.
Nowhere to go.
And that's generally when they come to me and say, I need help. I have no idea what to do.
Now, what about getting the books published? I know almost everybody I talk to now are self-published. Is that the way most people are going now?
It is. It's obviously with technology what it is becoming more popular. Absolute. It is without doubt a trend right now. And the traditional publishers are not helping themselves by making it so incredibly difficult. Now, granted, they have an incredible workload because people want to traditionally publish, and they probably, I won't even assign a number to it, but I will say it's in the thousands of manuscripts that they get per month.
Wow.
And they can't get through it all.
Right.
They can't. So waiting for a traditional publisher can take years.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Because if you get rejected by one, you have to go through the exact same process to go through another one.
Right.
And then that could take, and it's one of the reasons that people say, that's not for me, I'm just going to traditionally publish.
Yep.
Yeah. Or I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, self-publish.
Self-publish,
and that's exactly the route, that's why I took the route that I did too, because none of us are getting any older.
Yes. Now, from the time somebody...
In a very slow way.
But from the time somebody finishes their book, finishes the writing, and it's all polished and ready to go, what's the time frame from then until it could actually hit, say, Amazon or something like that?
Well, I've got it down to, in fact, the last client that I just helped publish, she self-published. And I think from the time that her and I put it together, everything, we formatted it, we did everything that we needed to do. It was up on Amazon probably in 72 hours.
Oh my goodness. That's great. That's good news.
Now that's with the cover. I mean, it took us months. From the time that she came to me to the time the book hit Amazon, it was almost a 9-month journey.
Yeah.
So if anybody's in a hurry, they're probably not going to put out the quality product that they really deserve to put out. It's a long journey. It really is. It is not a overnight thing to write and be published.
Sounds like it could be the better part of a year.
That'd be a very good estimate. If you want a quality product, I fully agree.
Yeah. Mark, you're a great guest for us because I have a million questions like these, but they only give us 10 or 12 minutes. But I just want to let you talk for a bit. Want to tell us more about your books or your services or anything you want to talk about?
Well, that's actually a really great, that's a great drop-off point. I literally, aside from the fact that I love the written word, fantasy has, just a little bit of a backstory, just a really quick backstory. I read The Hobbit by myself for the first time. It was the first book I ever finished on my own. I was 7.
Oh, my goodness.
And
That's
from
great.
the time I was 7 and I actually got through that, and I thought, that's it. That's for me. That's what I need to do. I need to be a writer, because the way Tolkien made his characters, and I mean both evil and good, it's a fever. It gets into your blood,
Yeah.
and I will say this, and this may I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way, but not everybody is. Writing takes talent.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is born to write.
Right.
Just like not everybody's born to work on rockets for NASA.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. Same thing with writing. So if you are a writer, and if you're, the reason I bring that up is never be afraid to start. Never be afraid to get someone else's opinion, which is another reason, again, why I have my editing business. Mm-hmm. If you're not sure, send me your work.
Yep.
and we'll talk about it.
Nice. I like that. You're inspiring, Mark, because you make me feel like we can all do this, or we can try. A quick story. I always used to notice when people heard Frank Sinatra sing, they thought, well, that's easy. I can do that. But that's not true. Same with writers or rocket scientists, as in your example. But I do believe this is, if you're a writer, you should be writing and writing and writing and writing. And even immersing yourself in, like you do, you're editing, writing, helping people, writing your own, helping other people write. You just need to be immersed in that. So I hope people get a good, strong message from you, and that they reach out to you, too. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. And I've been putting these books up throughout, and I encourage, oh, by the way, for our viewers, go to Amazon, don't order one of Mark's books, order 5. I like to buy 5 books because I give books away. You have to go to a house party, you want to take a host gift. My kids go to kids' birthday parties. They're taking books. So, and it's fun if all the kids in the clique, if they're all reading the same book, that's a lot of fun too. So,
I'll leave you with one final note.
Okay.
If you want to be a writer, read. And I know other famous authors have said that. Stephen King said it. There are so many different authors have said that, and it's so true. If you want to really write, read. Best advice I can give you.
Yeah. I made up a term when I was in grad school, ABR, always be reading. So even in the grocery store line, I was reading because I had to read a lot. But yeah, I do that. I read day and night and day. It's a good advice. And study the word. Look how people shape their sentences and stuff. That's my favorite thing. So, all right,
exactly. Look at a book like a textbook.
Yep.
Learn from it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn everything, dialogue, everything you need to know.
Yeah. I always say to myself, why is this so good? This book is so good. Why is it holding me in like this? And then I want to study what they do and how they did it. So great advice,
exactly.
Mark. All right, we'll have you back, Mark. We're going to ask you a million more questions next time. For our viewers, don't go anywhere. We have more authors coming up right after this.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike.